I caught my ex-girlfriend red-handed and she gaslit me. Hey, true story, man. I just found your channel recently and my first thought was, damn, this dude might actually want to hear my crazy story. I've been divorced for a little while now, but listening to other men's experiences on your channel has been eye-opening for me. It's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, realizing I wasn't the only one out here getting blindsided and gaslit. So here I am, finally ready to share my story. This one goes all the way back to college, back to the time when I met the woman who I thought was going to be my wife. Let me start from the beginning, because context matters here. Studying abroad, I grew up poor, like food stamps and hand-me-downs poor. College wasn't supposed to be in the cards for me, but I worked hard in high school, stayed away from trouble, and somehow managed to graduate with a 3.8 GPA. I became the first person in my family to go to college, and that alone was a huge deal for us. During freshman year, my university offered this study abroad program. They had all these different countries and majors to choose from, and the idea of going to Europe sounded like a dream. But when I saw the price tag, $13,000 for the summer, I knew it was impossible. My parents didn't even have $1,000 saved, let alone 13. The only reason it happened for me was because of a scholarship. It was specifically for underprivileged students and first-generation college kids. To even qualify, you had to have at least a 3.5 GPA, and I barely made the cut with my 3.52. I thank God every day for that scholarship. A lot of people assume because I'm African American. That's the reason I got it, but I know that's not true. I met a couple other kids on the trip, white, Asian, Latino, who got the same deal. We all had one thing in common. First-gen students from poor families who busted our asses to keep our grades up. That scholarship didn't just pay for a summer trip, it changed the trajectory of my life. I'll always be grateful for that opportunity, even though it also led me straight into heartbreak, meeting her. It all started at the airport. I'll never forget the first time I laid eyes on her. We were all gathering in the terminal, waiting to board, and in walked this girl who, to me, looked like she stepped out of a magazine. Blonde hair, green eyes, tall, with this confident but sweet smile that caught me off guard. She wasn't just pretty, she had this presence that made everyone stop and notice. And here I was, this skinny kid from the hood, rocking my old sneakers and a cheap duffel bag my aunt bought me from Walmart. I never thought a girl like that would even look in my direction. But somehow, we struck up a conversation. It started simple. Where are you from? What's your major? That kind of thing. She was from a small town about an hour and a half from mine. She was studying international relations, while I was focused on business. By the time we landed in Europe, I swear we'd already clicked. That summer was the best 3 months of my life. We traveled, studied, ate foreign food, got lost in cities, laughed until 3 a.m., and held each other through homesickness. We started as friends, but by the second month, it was official. We were a couple, the college relationship. Sophomore year, we came back home together, and we kept it going strong. Our campuses were only about an hour apart, so weekends were spent either at her school or mine. My friends loved her, her friends loved me, and our families blended seamlessly whenever we met up during the holidays. I'll be real with you. I thought I hit the jackpot. She was smart, beautiful, came from a good family, and treated me like I was her world. At least, that's what I thought. We dated all through college. By senior year, I had it all planned out. I was going to propose after graduation. We had talked about marriage casually, and she always seemed excited about it. I scraped and saved for months to buy a ring. It wasn't huge, but it was nice enough that I knew she'd love it. Graduation and the plan. After graduation, both our families threw a big joint party since our hometowns were close. We rented out a banquet hall in a small town in between so everyone could come. The plan was originally to propose at the party, but something told me to hold off. I wanted it to be more intimate, just me and her, not in front of 100 people with their phones out. So I decided to wait. The idea was to do it after a romantic dinner later that night when we had time alone together. But here's where things started to get weird. Red flags. She came over that night like she was supposed to, but something was off. She was dressed up way more than usual. Hair done, makeup perfect, nice dress, heels, the kind of outfit you wear when you're going to the club, not hanging out at your boyfriend's house. I asked her why she was so dressed up, and she brushed it off, saying she just felt like it. Then she told me she couldn't stay long. She wanted to leave early because she was tired and wanted to sleep at home. That didn't make sense. She'd spent the night at my place dozens of times before, and my parents loved her. I reminded her she was welcome to stay, but she refused. The way she insisted just didn't sit right with me. And then the little things started adding up. She kept checking her phone. She kept asking if her hair looked good. She asked me twice if her lipstick was smudged. My gut was screaming at me that something wasn't right. The phone. When she went to the bathroom, I did something I'd never done before. I grabbed her phone. Now, I know some people will judge me for that, but I swear something in my soul told me to look. I already knew her password because I'd seen her put it in a few times. And man, I wish I hadn't looked, but I also thank God I did. Right there in her messages was proof. She had been texting my childhood friend, the guy I grew up with, went to school with, played basketball with at the park. He had sent her a picture of himself naked in the mirror. And she had responded with messages about how she wanted to see him later that night. That's why she was dressed up. That's why she wanted to leave early. That's why she was so on edge. My stomach dropped. I felt like someone had ripped my chest open. Not only was my girl cheating, but it was with him. The betrayal cut twice as deep because it came from someone I considered family. And to make it worse, I scrolled back and saw that during the graduation party earlier that day, they had made out in the bathroom while I was out on the dance floor celebrating. The aftermath. I didn't say anything right then. I couldn't. My hands were shaking, my chest hurt, and I knew if I confronted her in that moment, it was going to get ugly. The next day, I took the ring back to the jeweler. Luckily, it had only been a week since I bought it, and they gave me a full refund. I blocked her number, I blocked his number, I cut them both off cold turkey. 3 days later, though, she showed up at my parents' house crying, begging to talk. And this is where the story takes another crazy turn, but I'll save that for part 2. Let's just say she tried to flip the script in the most manipulative way possible, and it involved my so-called best friend. I'll stop here before this email gets too long, but I wanted to share the first half of the story with you. If people want to hear the rest, I'll send in part 2, where I explain what she told my parents and how it almost turned into something way darker than simple cheating. Thanks for giving men like me a space to share our truth. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Respect. RJ, I caught my ex-girl-ass girlfriend red-handed and she gaslit me. Part 2. Hey, true story, it's RJ again. I said I'd be back with part 2 of my story, and here I am. Last time I left off with my ex showing up at my parents' house crying after I had blocked her and cut her off. This is where things went from painful to absolutely insane. If people thought the cheating was the worst part, they haven't heard how far she went to try to flip the script and make me look like the bad guy. When she showed up, it was a Sunday evening. I remember it like it was yesterday because my mom had just finished cooking a big dinner. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, the works. I was sitting in the living room watching TV when there was a knock at the door. I didn't think anything of it until I heard her voice. My ex. The same woman I had blocked. The same woman I swore I'd never see again. She was standing on the porch crying, mascara running down her face, hair a mess. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. My parents, being the kind-hearted people they are, let her in. My mom handed her tissues. My dad sat her down at the table, and before I knew it, she was pouring her heart out in front of my family. I didn't even want to look at her. I had no words. I was still carrying the pain of betrayal, and now she had the nerve to show up at my parents' house like she was the victim. The bomb she dropped. At first, she was begging me to talk to her, saying she was sorry, that she'd made a mistake, that she wanted me back. I tuned it out. I wasn't trying to hear it. But then she said something that made my jaw drop. She claimed that my childhood friend, the same one she cheated on me with, had forced himself on her, that she didn't want it, that she was drunk and scared and didn't know how to tell me. She looked me dead in the eyes, true story, and said, "He raped me." My mom gasped. My dad froze. The room got cold. Now here's the thing. I know false accusations are a serious subject, and believe me, if I thought for even 1 second that what she was saying was true, I would have called the cops on him myself. I don't play about that, but something about the way she said it didn't sit right. It felt rehearsed, like a script. And then I thought back to the messages I saw on her phone, the naked pictures, the way she was telling him she couldn't wait to see him, the way they had kissed at the graduation party. None of that lined up with what she was claiming now, gaslighting. That's when it hit me. She was trying to gaslight me. She knew I had caught her red-handed. She knew I saw the proof with my own eyes. So now she was flipping the narrative, trying to turn herself into the victim and my friend into the villain. She cried harder, saying things like, "You don't understand, RJ, I didn't want it. I only went along because I was scared. You can't be mad at me for that." She wanted me and my parents to rewrite the story in our heads so that I'd forgive her. But I couldn't. I told her flat out, "You're lying. I saw the texts. I saw the pictures. Don't sit here and play victim just because you got caught." My dad backed me up. My mom, who at first was emotional, eventually realized the truth too. She said, "Honey, I believe my son. You're only here because you got caught and you want to clean it up." Her meltdown. When she realized her story wasn't working, she snapped. 1 second she was crying, the next she was angry, like full on screaming at me, calling me heartless, saying I was supposed to protect her. She stormed out of the house, slammed the door, and I thought that was the end of it. But oh no, she wasn't done yet. The fallout. The next few weeks were rough. Word started spreading around our college friend group. Some people believed me, others believed her. You know how fast gossip travels in your early 20s. I lost a couple friends who took her side. They accused me of not supporting her. But the real ones, the ones who knew me, stood by me. They knew I wasn't the type to lie about something like this. As for my childhood friend, I never spoke to him again. I don't care what her side of the story was. He betrayed me, period. He was in my house growing up, eating my mom's cooking, shooting hoops with me after school. And then he went behind my back with the woman I was about to propose to. That's unforgivable. The emotional toll. I won't lie to you, those months broke me. I went from planning to start my life with someone I loved, to being stabbed in the back twice, to having my name dragged through the mud by lies. I stopped eating right, lost weight, my grades slipped. I couldn't focus at work. My self-esteem tanked. I remember one night sitting in my car in the Walmart parking lot just crying. I didn't even know why I drove there. I just needed somewhere to sit where nobody could see me falling apart. Healing. What helped me was distance. I cut off contact with her completely, blocked her on everything. I even told mutual friends that if they tried to bring her up, I didn't want to hear it. Slowly, I got back on my feet. I started hitting the gym. I got serious about my career. I threw myself into self-improvement because I knew the only way to truly move on was to rebuild myself stronger than I was before. Eventually, I graduated, got my first real job, and started making money. And with time, the pain faded. Reflection. Looking back now, I realize how dangerous gaslighting can be. If my parents hadn't believed me, if I didn't have proof in those messages, she could have destroyed me. She could have turned my family against me, my friends against me, maybe even the law against me. It taught me a hard lesson. Not everyone who cries is telling the truth. Not everyone who plays victim is innocent. And it also showed me the importance of trusting my gut. That gut feeling that told me to check her phone, it saved me from marrying the wrong person. Where I am now, fast forward to today. I'm divorced, different story for another day, but I've come a long way since then. I've rebuilt my life, found purpose, and I'm a much stronger man because of the scars I carry. My ex? Last I heard, she bounced around from relationship to relationship. My old friend? He got locked up a couple years later on unrelated charges. Goes to show you reap what you sow. Closing thoughts. True story. I wanted to share this not just to get it off my chest, but because I know there's some young man out there who needs to hear it. Some guy in college right now who's ignoring his gut feelings. Some guy who thinks his girl would never betray him, or that his best friend would never stab him in the back. To that guy, don't ignore the signs. Protect yourself. Trust your instincts. And if you do get betrayed, know that it's not the end of your story. It's just the beginning of a stronger version of you. Thanks again. Respect, RJ.